It's your boy Skill Collins for Grown Man Music. Hottest beats in town for the lowest price. Also for booking studio time at $30 an hour, that's including recording and mixing. Hit us up at 813-419-3989.
This is your boy Big Business. We're here live with two legends in the Tampa area. To my left, we got Skill Collins from Grown Man Music Studios. And to my right, we have Bryan Tyson from the internationally known Deep Productions. So today, we're just gonna get right into it, guys. First of all, I am just blessed and humbled that y'all could cut time out of your busy schedules to come here. And this is the Tampa Legends episode. Okay, so some of y'all might not know what Tampa Legends are. The legend is somebody who's been doing this music for 20 years plus, you know, feeding their family 24/7. They've been in it, connected to the music. And just to hear a little bit about that story and how the ups and downs have got you to the point you're at today. So, artists, there's a lot of knowledge in this room right here. You're talking about more than 40 years. Between the two of them, they've been doing it big here in the Tampa area, supporting local artists, propelling local artists to that regional coverage, to that national coverage, and even international coverage. So you really need to stay tuned to this episode. So we're gonna get right on into it. We're gonna start with my man, Skill Collins. 20 years, man. 20 years in the game, plus. I mean, I'm curious. I mean, a lot of people really, they quit after 6 years, you know, because they don't get the type of response that they want from the people who they think should like their music. I'm curious, what kind of got you started with the music, and when did it all get started?
In '73, when I was born, my mama gave me this microphone. Okay, I just wanted to get that out.
Yeah.
But you know, actually, I grew up in with one of them households. My brother did music. Parents always played music, you know. So I started, you know, like listening to music and you know, shared an appreciation for it at a young age. And you know, it was like I started from writing poems, you know, at a young age, like in school, you know, and then it went from singing, you know, want to be like a New Edition and whatnot, and Jackson 5 and everything. Then when,
like 86.
Right.
Yeah.
Then when hip hop came, you know, I really got into that. I wanted to, you know, really get into hip hop, and you know, my parents used to always every year get me some kind of instrument, a turntable, you know, I had the strobe light like in my room and everything. So
okay.
I grew up like in that, you know, like you know,
so
doing
what
something.
instruments did you play?
What instrument I tried to play?
Oh, tried.
Okay, yeah.
That's why you make it.
Yeah, I got I remember getting one of my first instrument was a guitar. I think I learned one thing on it. The turntable. Yeah, one thing. Sonic drums. You know, I did play that. You know, I did the little drum things. Had a turntable. Learned a, you know, a little scratching, like probably about as good as Eric B. Okay. You know, Eric just that's about it.
Okay.
But you know, with the mic, I was pretty nice with it. You know, doing poetry. You know, doing singing. You know, started with little groups. You know, and
so what was the name of that group that you started? What and when was that group started?
The group, my first group I remember was called, as a singing group, was called Slow Motion.
Now, what year was that?
Shoot, let me see. That would have to be in. Man, shoot, that'll probably be in like the mid-'80s.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. So like mid-'80s, around that time, you know, I had a group with a couple of neighborhood guys. And what's crazy, this one guy that played the guitar in my neighborhood, he was actually, you know, cousins with L.A. Reid. Now back then I didn't know L.A. Reid or whatnot, but he was real nice, man. Nice dude named Morris Reid. Played the guitar, and then another guy named Eric Oliver, he was nice with the bass, he played slap bass, and me and this one dude in my neighborhood named Chuck, he sounded like Marvin Riley from Ready for the World, and I sounded like Ralph Tresvant, so we come together.
Let me stop you for a second. People who don't know who L.A. Reid is, that's LaFace, so
right.
that was a record label that put out Outkast and and several other platinum artists
That's
back in
right.
the day. So
Part of the deal,
Yeah,
the singing group, the deal, you know, did stuff with, like you said, with Babyface. You know, L.A. Reid got, you know, huge background to this day, still being, you know, relevant in the game. So we was doing stuff, you know, I did stuff with his cousin. Like I said, at that time I didn't know who L.A. Reid was back then as a youngin'. But just grew up, you know, then got into hip hop. One of my biggest, you know, from Run DMC to later on to Rakim, I was a huge Rakim fan.
Right.
When I heard Rakim, I knew I wanted to take rap serious and, you know, started the battle and everything. Yeah, late 80s, yep.
I'm gonna stop you there because I want to kind of get a timeline.
Okay.
So you talking about like 85, you talking with, you're doing music with, you know, people who you didn't know were connected to people in the industry.
Right.
I'm gonna go to Bryan because at one point that story converged because you've known each other for
Right.
We started meet around that time.
Yes,
Okay,
sir. Yes,
okay.
sir. Yes,
So
sir.
what about you? What year? Because I'm interested because I don't know if you started playing an instrument, and I don't think a lot of people really know the background of Beat Productions and how you got into the music as well. So you actually mid '80s. He was on the, you know, the L.A. Reid singing type tip. Where were you at with the music around that early '80s time?
Well, I discovered rap music basically in the movie Breakin' when that came out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I fell in love with it with that. You know, I was the white boy learning how to break dance and wearing my robot glasses and shit when I was, I was about 10 years old.
I remember
But I
that.
remember hearing that and just seeing that whole lifestyle and falling in love with that.
Okay.
You know, Thriller was coming out then, so we was dancing to Thriller.
84.
So I was up in Tennessee at that time, and then I came back to Tampa, and my cousin introduced me to Kenny K on the radio.
Okay. Yeah. Tampa
So-
Legends, definitely.
I was probably 12 or 13, and I heard Kenny K.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, definitely. But then I heard scratching for the first time, and I fell in love with that. I remember watching Run DMC videos and watching them scratch. I was fascinated by it, bro. So my whole life dedication came to I have got to do that.
Okay.
So I was about 13 years old, and my dad, you know, I used to do little things for him. He made me work for it, but I had to work and try to get my first Technique 1200.
That was
So,
expensive back in the day.
$500 and something dollars still.
Yeah, that's expensive.
But I finally got one. Then I got my realistic mixer from Radio Shack and my realistic turntable. So I finally had one Technique to work with.
Okay.
Then I finally got the other, you know, 1200. So by the time I was 14 or 15, I had both of them. And all I did was study DJ Magic Mike and Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince of DJs. And all I did was spend endless hours every day trying to emulate what I heard. And I got to where I was about as good as them, right, Chad?
That's right.
Yeah,
So
that's tough too because I mean those were the masters of
yeah, they
this
were
stuff now they keep it on repeat and stuff like that. They
Yeah.
speed it up and do different things.
exactly. And I didn't know that back then.
Okay.
I didn't know that sometimes they would slow it down, scratch, and speed it back up. So I learned how to do it at the same speed. So I was pretty good at it. But anyway, and then I got my first drum machine. I can't even remember what it's called.
Now what year was that? Because
This is coming up right at meeting Chad.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Was
it's like-
I probably just had a drum machine when I met you,
Yeah, I
right?
think so.
Because I was back to back on turntables when he would rap.
Yes, he did.
So I really had to get 2 records and loop it, and really go back to back the whole time while he rapped when we first met, I think.
And I mean
Yeah.
what you were doing at that point in time, that was cutting edge.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had that 1200
Yeah,
in the 80s,
that's true.
That was what you know Eric B and Rakim were working with.
Right.
You know, people don't understand that like the industry sound, you had that industry sound at 16.
Yeah.
You know, from a DJing perspective, you know what I mean. So that's, you know, artists. that's a huge tip. You take the investment into your actual product. You know, you could go into a home studio and, you know, smoke weed and record for free on this, you know, microphone that costs $100, but it's not gonna sound like, you know, the pro stuff. I mean, they took that investment to get what professionals had at an early age and perfect that sound.
Yeah, that's always been both of our passions. We wanted to have that sound. I've drove him nuts our whole life, half of it. Chad, come over. I figured out how to make it sound.
I found it.
figured
Like, Brian, how many times you gonna find it, bro? How many times?
Well, you have to admit it, incrementally it got good over the years.
That's right.
And I remember we had a tape player and a realistic microphone with a sock on it. And that's what we recorded on back then. You better get it right the first take, because you had to run it back. You'd be in there sweating trying to get it right the first time.
Wow.
We could only dream of having a computer where you could run it back and punch in shit.
Yeah, you had to really know what you was doing.
Yeah, and you had to dig for some samples too. We didn't have YouTube. I wish we had YouTube back then. We would have been.
They didn't have computers. The computer was the size of the room back then.
Yeah, true. It was.
So we kind of established what you were doing in the 80s as far as, you know, what the background was. I want to get more into what was happening, you know, in the 90s. I know, for example, you were, you know, with your group and you were spinning. So how did your careers kind of build and matriculate into owning your own studios and working with these artists that are, you know, regional and national, basically standards for certain time periods? I'm gonna start with you on that one, Skip.
Right. In the early 90s, you know, that's just really kind of after meeting up with Bryan. Met him in '89 actually, you know, and so in the 90s we like fresh into it more like as an artist, you know. He was a DJ, he was a sought after DJ, you know, like I was in my battle rap stage, so I was looking for.
Where were some places he was possibly spinning?
He was at 88.5, that was the main spot, you know, he's spinning on the radio. And I heard him, man, he was just this dope cat. I just went looking for him, you know, leaving cards here and there.
Right.
Finally got in touch with him at a spot where he buy records from, you know. And then, you know, met up with him. I thought he was a black dude for sure. Had no idea that he would be a white dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Had no idea. I'm like, you flying, Bryan?
This is before Jam Pony Express and all that stuff.
Around the same time.
Okay, about the same time.
Around the same time. Yeah, it was. 89. I mean, it was like, I couldn't believe it, you know, and nice with the hand. He showed me what he could do. We got together, we built from there, man. And you know, from a little house studio to the back of a church studio to, you know, here and there to recording at different studios, you know, making joints, man, performing here and there. Right. Little label deals, but nothing too big, you know, a little management deal, nothing too big, you know, but it was big for us because I'm 16, you know, I'm 16. Bryan probably like 15, you know, we young at it, you know, so.
In the studio already.
Yeah, in the studio doing it, you know. Recording, you know, doing good things, man, doing shows.
At that point in time, you were on the radio?
I just, you know, they have guests on there sometimes.
Right,
okay.
So I was known for scratching and stuff back then. So I had a little, you know, interview on there, a little scratching and stuff like that. So.
Okay. So what was that main moment where you knew that it went to a different level, as far as, wait a minute, like we're on something, you know what I'm saying? Like this isn't just for fun now. We really have something that can make, you know, the whole city move.
I mean, that's really, I think, when we got the ASR 10. We started sampling, actually making beats. That's when we were like, this is definitely what we're going to keep doing. Okay. It just brought so much joy and happiness. Right. You know, that's just the thing. Like, we just listened to those songs just over and over and over, and just all we did. I was real thin back then, and half the reason is because I didn't eat much. Okay. I forget about eating because I was just so into the music.
Yeah, in essence, that's what it is. You know what
absolutely.
No doubt,
you know, just taking it serious. You know what I'm saying? Like when we figure like this is what we're gonna do, man. I mean, we was young, man. We was hustling, man. You know, on our grind per se. You know what I'm saying? As far as for that, you know, getting our little business card, setting up us a little answer machine. You know, so we going to the mall promoting ourselves. Like we had the dreams, you know, of doing something. We stuck with it. Right. And even though we took like a break here and there, our artistry only just transformed into something. So we went from a DJ to a producer. Right. I went from an artist to, you know, a producer. We went from home studio to a storefront, you know, to sticking with it and establishing customers and, you know, keeping a good name along the way.
I'm curious because a lot of people really wonder, like, to get to the level where you're getting, you know, paid off of this 24/7, you can feed your families with this, you know, how many hours a week does it really take? You know, because a lot of people don't ask specific questions. I want to be this, I want to be that. They don't know the blueprint of, well, look, I'm doing this amount of time per week, this amount of days per week. So I'll ask you more on those grinding days, and I'll ask you first. So, say, 90 to about 2,000. How many hours were you putting in a week, you know, mastering your art, working on your craft?
I would say every single free moment I had. if I wasn't with my girlfriend or something, it was definitely non-stop music for sure. Yeah, I was obsessive with it. Because I never went to school or anything. I taught myself everything I know in engineering. But that's all they make you do at college anyways, make you read your books.
Right.
So I just banged my head on it until I got it right. And it was definitely difficult without YouTube to figure out how to do it.